Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma is proud to present The Shasteen Show from London's in downtown Tullahoma. Brought to you by Southern Community Bank, Rogers Insurance Group, and Mission Collision. Now, here are your hosts, Scott Shasteen and Ken Kelly.
Well, let's see. It's Monday. We're at London's, and it's sprinkling. That's the norm.
Imagine that.
It rains every Monday.
It does. Has for the last couple of years. We've been on this show. I bet it's rained 80% of the time.
You know, your favorite group, the Carpenters, had a song, Rainy Days and Mondays.
There you go.
Yeah, welcome into the Shasteen Show. We're live at London's in downtown Tullahoma. We have got a great crowd here tonight enjoying these delicious steaks that London offers. We got 4 fillets at the table right beside us, Ken. It's about to kill me.
Oh, man.
Oh, they look awesome. They look awesome. Come on down, though. Cold beer. It's happy hour. Great hamburgers. And the best steak in town, no question about it. At London's every Monday night, it's the Shasteen Show. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We've got recruiting updates as the recruiting season for college football is over. We got some bracketology to talk about. We're less than a month away from March Madness. TSSAA basketball playoffs has started. We'll talk a little bit about that. But we began tonight by talking about something that I've been chatting about for a few weeks, and that is the Tullahoma Sports Council first Hall of Fame ceremony and award show. It was Saturday night at D.W. Wilson Community Center, and I got to say, it was fantastic. It was a fantastic event. Congratulations to Mayor Lane Curley, who started this ball rolling by creating the Tullahoma Sports Council a few years ago, and then sort of gave the idea to Jim Bratcher to create this Hall of Fame. And Bratcher took that idea and turned it into what was just a fantastic event on Saturday. 250 people in the gym at D.W. Wilson. All the awardees showed up except for one. So it was a great crowd, very enthusiastic. I really enjoyed being the MC. Everything just went off perfect. Great food, music, lights. I mean, they did it up right, Ken. It was a very professionally done event.
Yeah, it's a spectacular event. I saw the pictures on Facebook and Twitter, and you said it was kind of like a family reunion.
It was. There was a lot of hugging going on, a lot of people that hadn't seen each other for a long time. So it was exciting.
Yeah.
And, you know, we'll never see another class quite like this one. I mean, there's still a lot of great athletes and coaches and officials and administrators and media people to be inducted as the years go on, but there'll never be another one like the first one. There'll probably never be one as big as the first one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was awesome. As I read the accomplishments of some of the people inducted, it was just, I was again just reminded of just how awesome some of their careers have been.
How do you pull off an encore? That's the $1 million question. But Tullahoma's had a rich history and sports tradition over the years, and no doubt, I'm sure that the council is going to come up with some other worthy members. And I fielded questions since our show last week. Is it going to be 12 members every year? How is that going to take place? I think in the Hall of Fame, like in pro football, I don't think it's a set number every year, is it?
No, and it's not going to be a set number for the Tullahoma Sports Council. I think they felt like that the first one needed to be, there were some people that had to go in the first one.
Yeah.
Wallace Wade, Frank Mullins, Bill Pack Sr. Those people are in other Hall of Fames. They had to go in this one.
Yeah.
And so I think you'll probably see in the future, 5, 6, 7 members inducted on a yearly basis. You might have 3 one year, you might have 8. But I'd say somewhere in the 5, 6, 7 range will probably be the norm.
Yeah. So you called out old Jerry.
Had a little fun with Coach Mathis. He's a good sport, and of course his 74 baseball team, state championship baseball team, became the first team to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And And that's still a big group of guys.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. I mean, by the pictures, the photo, it looked like quite a few of them. I'm sure they're scattered out all over America. It looked like a large contingent of that 74 team.
A lot of them
present.
came back. It was great to see Ashley Gillum, the young golfer, became the first honorary inductee. So the concept is that each year the Hall of Fame will induct a number of permanent members for their career accomplishments. And then they'll induct 1 or 2 members as honorary members for what they did over a 1-year span. And Ashley Gillum was the honorary inductee for her 1 year of golf. She was just tremendous. She won everything. I mean, she, qualified for the U.S. Women's Open. I mean, she just crushed golf.
That's incredible.
In 2018.
And that's a game that you have to have so much discipline. Started at an early age and practice. Short game, putts, chips, sand game, driver. I mean, it's all got to be working for you to be that elite and get to that level, no doubt about it.
And, absolutely. So she becomes the first ever honorary inductee. And then our buddy Steve Matthews was the first inductee of the night. Yeah. So he'll always be the first person inducted in the Tullahoma Sports Hall of Fame.
So he was the
Steve Matthews.
first name, man. How
Absolutely. And it was great to see Jamil Northcutt, Dr. Northcutt, be inducted. Cameron Howard was there. He looked fantastic. Great to see Cameron and Shelton. She looked just like she did in high school. She becomes the first permanent career female inductee into the Hall of Fame, and also the first soccer player inducted. Matt Sweeten became the first wrestler inducted. So it was widespread class that scanned. There was track and field, there's football, there's basketball. It was great.
That's what I was going to say. Sounds like you hit a gauntlet of sports.
Yeah.
I saw lots of comments relative to you, thanking you for emceeing it, so I'm sure that you did a great job.
I did a great job.
And that you'll be brought back once again.
I don't know. You know how it is when you're a professional,
Hey, there you go.
It's all about the Benjamins, right?
There you go. That's right. All about the Benjamins.
No, it was big fun. I was glad to do it. Honored to be asked to do it.
Yeah.
And appreciate the opportunity. I'd certainly do it as long as they asked me to. Yeah. But you weren't there because you had a little something going on.
29th anniversary. That's the only thing that knocked me out. But I had a conversation with my wife, so I think we may be starting having our anniversary dinners on Saturday nights at D.W. Wilson in the first Saturday in February?
Second.
First or second?
Yeah, after
second.
we the committee felt like that post Super Bowl was the way to go.
Yeah.
And I agreed. I thought that was a good time. That's about the lowest sports time. Football's over. March Madness hadn't begun. Baseball hadn't begun. So
I think the ratings there for the Tullahoma Hall of Fame and Tullahoma Sports Council, I think they were actually the only ratings that were higher than the Alliance of American Football Saturday night.
Well, Light Tube was there at the Sports Council banquet, and they did film the entire event. So I think you'll be able to see that on replay on Light Tube, probably Channel 23 at some point, like you can watch the replay of this show beginning Wednesday at 6 o'clock on Channel 23. So, Chris was there, filmed the whole thing. So hopefully folks will be able to watch that.
Good deal.
Yeah. Did you get some video of your anniversary? We going to be able to watch that?
No video of our anniversary. Not this year.
Well, congratulations, man. 29 years. You got me by a year.
Really?
Yeah, you got me by a year.
That? That's a long time, man. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. So
she's put up with me that long.
I tell you, Michelle needs some sort of award. We should have given her an award at the banquet for being married to you.
You got that right.
For that
no
long.
doubt. She would agree with that wholeheartedly, Scott. No doubt.
So what's new? And let's talk a little bit about this American Association of Football. I believe the AAF. Got home in time Saturday night to watch, the fourth quarter of Orlando's beatdown of Atlanta.
Yeah.
The return of Steve Spurrier to the field and How great was it to have Spurrier mic'd up? I mean, I thought that was awesome.
Oh, not much has changed with that guy, man. You know, just jumping around, screaming on the sidelines. He didn't throw the headsets. I didn't
have any reason to.
But it's kind of cool. You know, I mean, I like the uniforms of the teams. You know, there were some things I liked, some things I didn't like. Man, that sky judge is kind of weird. You know, the sky judge up in the box that they can, you know, buzz down at any time on an egregious blown call. And so there's some rules that are a little bit different that we're going to have to get used to.
No kickoffs, I believe.
Yeah, no kickoffs. After you score a touchdown, you must go for a 2-point conversion. You still have field goals, but no extra points. You can only rush 5. And if you're outside 2 yards outside the tackle box, or farther than 5 yards back from the line of scrimmage, you can't rush. So max rush is really 5 guys. So that's the biggest thing, you know. And a corner blitz is not going to be allowed, but. You know, the overtime rules are a little bit different. And overtime, they're kind of like high school rules, a little bit, in that both teams get one possession. I know in high school it can go on until somebody wins, but you start out at the 10-yard line, and you have to go for 2. And after, if both teams score 8 points or 6 or whatever it is, it's a tie after one overtime. I don't really like that part of it.
No,
you know, take these ties out of it. Yeah, I don't like the tie.
I mean, they only play a 10-game season, right?
And you start out at the 10-yard line and only got to go 10 yards. Look, those teams are going to score 4 downs from 10 yards easy.
Yeah. I can't believe they kept a tie in.
Yeah, they'll have lots of ties. Yeah. So they play an 8-game, a 40-game schedule overall, I think, in the league, an 8-game schedule per team. So
I thought it was 10. 8 games.
That's right. Well, yeah, maybe 10. I'm not sure, but it's going to be a great league.
Is Atlanta the closest team to us?
Memphis. And I like Memphis's uniforms, man. That red, blue, and silver look like kind of like FedEx. I guess, you know, FedEx is in Memphis, but it looked like they had the Jets on their helmets and stuff.
Do we know what the team, the Memphis Express?
Yeah. I've got that. I wrote the.
That's my team.
8 teams. Here's the 8 teams, Scott. So
I would say FedEx probably is paying a lot of that since it's the Memphis Express.
Do you know who their head coach is?
You know, I do know this, but I'm not going to remember.
Mike Singletary.
Yes.
Yeah.
In Memphis?
Yes.
Did they win or lose this week?
Memphis, they lost. They got zipped by the Birmingham Iron 26-0.
God, Alabama just will not leave Tennessee alone. It's just brutal.
Well, I tell you, the Atlanta team didn't do too good. Aaron Murray was their backup quarterback. I think Matt Sims was the starter, former Tennessee quarterback, right? And
Matt Sims beat out Aaron Murray.
He beat out Aaron Murray.
Wow.
And I heard Danielson finally when they put Murray in. This guy broke all kinds of records in the SEC. I watched him throw. They had Gary Danielson calling the game.
Yeah.
And
who was the play-by-play man?
I didn't recognize the name on a play-by-play guy, but he was pretty good. And but I like the uniforms. They were kind of neat. So here's the names and the team names of the 8 teams. The San Diego Fleet. Mike Martz, he coached the Rams.
Sure.
He was their head coach. The San Antonio Commanders, Mike Riley at Oregon State, their head coach. Birmingham Iron had several Alabama players on that team. Blake Sims, Trent Richardson. They're kind of, I don't know, Birmingham Iron, kind of like the Steelers, black uniforms, black and silver, look more like the Raiders, but kind of that rugged, Steel City look. Atlanta Legends, Aaron Murray was on that team. Memphis Express, Mike Singletary, Zach Stacy, former running back of the Vanderbilt Commodores. The Orlando Apollos, of course, Steve Spurrier had several Florida Gators on that team. The Arizona Hotshots, how did you like their uniforms? Did you see those?
I think I did.
Yellow, green, and red. They were pretty cool, but they got a Z on the front. I don't know what that stands for on the stripe of their helmet. A Z, it's like, it's kind of like that old Fresno State that's got a V or something on the front of the helmet. It's like, how do you get a V out of Fresno State? How do you get a Z out of Hot Shots? I don't know. I got to find that out. And the Salt Lake Stallions, Dennis Erickson, the old Miami Hurricane coach, coaching them. And their uniforms kind of look like Detroit Lions.
And Seattle Seahawks former coach as well, Dennis Erickson, right?
That's right. So we'll see. This league supposedly is not affiliated with the NFL. under contract with them, but it is going to be a launching pad, kind of like a farm system where players can go to the league immediately and be called up to the NFL, and then if they get booted, come back down and play with them, although the NFL supposedly doesn't have them under contract.
We'll see. There's been a lot of football leagues start up, the XFL, the WFL, the European League. Remember that was going a few years ago, the USFL. Trump destroyed that. A lot of the football leagues started up. The only one that partially survived was the AFL, and it only survived because it merged with the NFL because Joe Willie Namath led the New York Jets to a Super Bowl win over the Baltimore Colts, and the NFL said, okay, you proved it to us, we'll take you.
And of course the Canadians are still playing, and that league, that's been going on a long time. Canadian
still going on.
Man, I don't know how long, probably since the 70s.
Yeah, we'll see if this AAF survives with the NFL. I think it's got a pretty good shot, got good ratings. It beat the NBA game Saturday night, which was on ABC. The AAF Orlando Atlanta game was on CBS, and it beat the NBA game. That's a pretty good start.
Yeah, 2.9 million viewers, and really it wasn't touted, it wasn't marketed. I didn't know about it. I mean, I get home Saturday night from Murfreesboro, and I flip it on, and it's on, and my son's calling me Sunday night and is mad because he was looking for the other CBS station that had the game that came on.
Yeah, and, I think Sunday night it was on like the CBS Sports Network or something, which my system doesn't get, and his probably didn't either.
Yeah.
So I hope they keep at least one night on the regular CBS station.
And so the XFL, not to be outdone, Scott, do you see where they've got they named a coach and general manager, a certain coach that used to coach the Oklahoma Sooners?
Yeah, the XFL is trying to crank back up as well, and Bob Stoops is going to be a big part of that.
Yeah. How about that? So we've got the NFL draft coming up in April. We've got March Madness, but not to be outdone, we've got the Alliance of American Football to talk about the next few weeks. So hey man, we can fill our hour up.
We're going to learn some of these players, some of these rosters, and we'll do standings every once in a while and see how that thing goes. But next, National Signing Day was not what it used to be because of that early signing period in November. But now it's over. Now we can look back and see who did the best in recruiting. Driven by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma, we're live at London's. You're listening to the Shasteen Show on the Rooster 101.5.
Have you heard the news? The Russell Barnett Automotive family has launched its new and improved website. That's russellbarnett.com. With over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from, then look no further than russellbarnett.com. Online service appointments, customer testimonials, and vehicle history reports, this website has it all. We are the largest Middle Tennessee family-owned dealership with 5 locations to choose from. russellbarnett.com, and why buy anywhere else?
Builder Supply in Tullahoma is your one stop for all the building materials you need for your next project. Their paint center has a full line of Benjamin Moore paints to brighten any room. Trust the experts, Bubba, Joe, and the gang at Builder Supply, 301 South Atlantic Street, Tullahoma.
Sample Family Restaurant in Estill Springs is the place to go when you're hungry for good country cooking. Open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Friday nights, 4 to 7:30, with Friday night trivia starting at 6:15. Breakfast is served all day, every day at Sample Family Restaurant in Estill Springs.
Think there's only one way to earn a college degree? It's time to explore your alternatives at Motlow State Community College. With our diverse degree options, a variety of course formats, and convenient locations, students can customize a college experience to fit any lifestyle, budget, or schedule. There are countless ways to get the education you need. Come explore them with us at Motlow State Community College.
You're watching The Shasteen Show, presented by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma, on LightTube Channel 23 and 93.9 The Duck. Now back to Scott and Ken at London's in downtown Tullahoma.
Another semi-wet Monday night in southeastern United States of America, but we are cozy and dry inside London's downtown T-Town, along with Ken Keller. I'm Scott Shasteen, and Ken Smash reminded us during the break that they drafted these players in the AAF by geography.
Yeah.
And so there's 6-7 Tennessee players on this Memphis team, and a number of Alabama players on that Birmingham team.
Well, and what you're going to see, 4 of the 8 teams are, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, which is going to, for SEC fans, I think they're going to watch just to see how those former players, are doing on those teams, because, those guys are, one look, somebody seeing something good on film from being in the NFL.
What do you think the worst team name is?
The worst team name? Let's see. I didn't really like the Commanders, San Antonio Commanders. I guess maybe Commandos would have been pretty cool.
That's a big military town.
Okay. I don't know. I just thought about that a little bit.
I don't like the Legends, the Atlanta Legends. I think that's pretty weak.
That sounds like a basketball team.
It should have been like the Atlanta Coke. Isn't that where Coca-Cola's central? The Atlanta CNNs.
And I don't know, maybe Hot Shot sounds more like a hockey team than a football team.
A little bit. I really like I think my favorite team name is the Orlando Apollos.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Now is an Apollo like an archer?
Apollo is like a spaceship, isn't it?
But the logo looked like it was an archer.
Oh, okay.
A Greek god, Smash says. Okay.
Apollo.
Yeah.
So I liked it even better now.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out, what the Birmingham iron. I don't know. I guess a piece of silver iron down the middle of the helmet.
Yeah, Birmingham's known for iron.
Yeah,
that's why you have to play the Iron Bowl, Ken.
Well, that's true. That's true. But I mean, there's just the uniforms were just so kind of blah. It's just
bland,
black with one silver stripe, and it's like black pants, black shirts. Yeah. I don't know.
All right, so
kind of a little boring, but
some of the young men that you're going to talk about, if it lasts long enough, will end up playing in the AAF.
They will.
I promise you. I don't care how many stars they got by their name. They're not all going and playing in the NFL.
You're right.
So let's talk recruiting.
Well, let's talk recruiting. The SEC dominated recruiting day. We have 2 signing days this year. I think that's the second year that's happened, but it's took a lot of luster off the late signing day.
Don't you think the November date is going to become National Signing Day, and this February you'll just be cleanup?
Yeah, and there's no doubt about it, because I think the stat showed 80% of the 4 and 5 stars was already signed, and I think it's good because they can, with all the early entrants. For example, I think Tennessee signed 23, 24 guys, but 10 of those are early enrollees, and they're in school in the middle of January. Alabama had 15, so that's the trend. These guys graduate from high school early and get in that spring football program, and that's really going to help these schools.
Well, who won the recruiting battle? Who's number one?
Well, the SEC did, because there were for the first time ever 3 SEC schools finished in the top 3 of the ESPN recruiting. Alabama finished number 1, the Georgia Bulldogs 2, and Texas A&M number 3. And those 3 schools were leading going into the last day, and they held serve, although they did have a couple defections and a couple surprises out of those schools. The first big one early on Wednesday morning was the bow shot across to the plains of Auburn was the George Pickens flipping from the Auburn Tigers to the Georgia Bulldogs, 5-star number 1 receiver out of the state of Alabama. Now Georgia and Kirby Smart, they signed the top 2 players out of the state of Alabama, Clay Webb and George Pickens. Big loss for the Auburn Tigers, and immediately the Auburn message boards go into meltdown, saying that accusing Georgia of paying more for Pickens than they offered.
Well, I think there could be something to that.
Yeah, could be something to that.
It's hard to believe, but there are schools that cheat in recruiting.
Yeah, and I had a good conversation Sunday morning with Gary Barfield, and he assures me that each school has a bag man, an unnamed bag man that is also a master recruiter that steers money to these big recruits. So Gary shed some light on me on
Shocking.
that. Yeah, how about that?
So, how did it shake out after those top 3?
Okay, so top 3. So the SEC had 7 teams in the top 12. Think about that. 7 schools in the top 12 and 10 schools in the top 24. So that is unbelievable. So
we're number 7.
Yeah.
We're number 7.
Number 7?
Out of the SEC, right?
I think 6.
Didn't Tennessee 12?
I think you're ahead of Auburn by 1. Okay, and Tennessee
We're number 6.
Yeah, I think Tennessee started out 14 or 15. They moved up to number 11 overall in the nation, number 6 in the SEC because they signed two top 50 players, including Darnell Wright. They were expected to get him. Got Darnell Wright over West Virginia, and linebacker out of California, Henry Toa, I believe is how you pronounce it. So Bob Keston's going to have a lot of fun when Alabama plays Tennessee, pronouncing Tua Tagovailoa and Henry Toa. So that's going to be pretty good right there when that happens. But this guy is a top middle linebacker in the nation, number 2, I think. Him or Nakobe Dean, whichever recruiting service you look at. Nakobe Dean to Georgia. Henry, let's make it simple of all fans. His nickname's Hank, so we'll just call him Hank. But Kevin Simon, instrumental, as we told you in his recruitment. Tennessee added Simon to an off-the-field assistant role, by the way, for landing Henry Toa.
So maybe he's an intern like Butch.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, Tennessee also landed a pretty good coach on National Signing Day.
Yeah.
Big part of that number 11's Derek Ansley coming back to Knoxville.
Yeah, Derek Ansley, and we'll see. There's some rumors out that he's going to be the defensive coordinator, not only a defensive back coach, but he will be the defensive coordinator at UT. Of course, he was at Alabama and other schools, but he was at Alabama and he recruited Alontae Taylor. So him and Alontae Taylor are reunited. As a matter of fact, I guess I can say this now, but Derek Ansley is the one that called Alontae Taylor and notified him that I could not bring him to Tuscaloosa for whatever reason. So that's a true story.
Well, at least he follows the rule.
So that's a true story. But I know that he's got a lot of material to work with. 2 freshman cornerbacks that were very good last year, and also I believe it was Jalen McCullough coming in at safety. So Tennessee and Derek Ansley, they've got some work to do on the defensive side of the ball, but they got some players. J.J. Peterson redshirted. They now have Henry Toa along to go with Quavarius Couch. So you talk about revamping in the secondary and at the linebacker position. Tennessee really needed linebackers.
They need help everywhere.
Yeah,
let's face it. Tennessee needs help everywhere.
Yeah. So this is a top 11 class, which gets them to 3rd in the SEC East. No other team finished in the SEC East besides in the top 25 besides Georgia and Florida. So you got Georgia, Florida, Tennessee. Florida came in at number 9, and then after that there's a big drop off. So I look for those 3 teams right there in the next couple of years to really battle it out, and these other teams, Missouri, Vanderbilt, South Carolina, to drop back some.
Well, finishing behind Georgia and Florida is acceptable. A full recruiting cycle is really 2 or 3 years. You develop the relationship with these guys when they're sophomores in high school and that sort of thing. But let it be clear from this chair that finishing 3rd behind Georgia and Florida in recruiting, in the standings, anywhere, that's not acceptable.
Yeah.
In Knoxville, we're building for championship.
Yeah, and the difference between 9-11 is a player or two, and probably what separated Florida and Tennessee was the flip of Chris Bogle, a big defensive end out of the state of Florida that was committed to Alabama, flipped on the second signing day to the Florida Gators. So a big get there for Dan Mullen, who is slowly rebuilding that Florida Gator program too. So that's going to be a big game this year, as it always is. Tennessee and Florida. Tennessee swept them in basketball this year, so let's see if the Vols can do some damage in Gainesville with the football team this year.
So far, Tennessee's swept all SEC teams in basketball.
Yeah, they had 20-1. Yeah, they have. Undefeated in the SEC. Yeah.
So nationally, other than the SEC, who scored big?
I think Michigan. They finished the top 10. You got to look at them from the Big Ten. They beat out Penn State and Ohio State pretty heavily. Ohio State losing Coach Meyer, they take a step backwards and finish number 16. They're normally top 5 guaranteed. But I'm looking at the Big 12, Scott, and looking at the positions 4 and 5. Oklahoma 4, Texas 5, behind the Big 3 of Alabama, Georgia, and Texas A&M. You got Oklahoma Sooners 4, and of course you throw in Jalen Hurts to that lineup, who's a potential Heisman Trophy contender this year. They've won the last 2 Heisman Trophies, the quarterbacks at Oklahoma have. You got to think Jalen Hurts has got a good shot, and that resurgence of the Texas Longhorns, that's going to be some good, fun games to watch in the next few years, and battling out in the Big 12 of Oklahoma and Texas.
What about the powerhouse ACC?
Powerhouse ACC, that's led by PEDU or Steroid Accidental University, the Clemson Tigers. I had to throw that in, man.
They did have a little scandal, didn't they?
Yeah, they had some kind of little scandal that got swept under the rug. But, Clemson, no competition. The ACC, they're going to be back again next year. But Pac-12 team, and is to watch out for. The Oregon Ducks finished number 7. Mario Cristobal pulled the number 1 player out of the nation, out of rivals. Kayvon Thibodeau, big defensive end that's been compared to Jadeveon Clowney. So he had a big signing coup on National Signing Day, taking a bunch of big linemen out of the state of California, and a lot of the skilled players that didn't come to the SEC went to the Oregon Ducks. So watch out for Oregon. They're going to start taking control of the Pac-12.
Yeah, Oregon, the only team in the Pac-12 that made any noise. Interesting that you don't get a Big Ten team until number 8, Michigan. That may be as low as the top Big Ten team has been in these rankings in a long time.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And they got the number 1 safety in the nation, Dax Hill, that originally committed to them, flipped to Alabama, flipped back to a couple days before signing day to the Michigan Wolverines, and he's going to be a great player. But, the SEC dominates again, and I think, I don't think this playoff per se is going to be expanded to 8 teams anytime soon. That contract runs, Scott, through 2025. But the chances of 2 SEC teams out of the 4, I think, is highly probable with these kind of recruiting numbers.
It's impressive. It's impressive. It's impressive how many SEC teams are projected to go to the NCAA basketball tournament. The committee for the first time released its top seeds, its top 16 seeds, and so most of the publications have projected the field of 64. Today, USA Today projected the field of 64. We're going to take a look at that. Also, basketball playoffs are starting on the high school level. We've got tournament brackets to talk about, and a little Tennessee basketball might make its way into the program. Driven by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma. We're live at London's. It's the Shasteen Show on the Rooster 1015.
Have you heard the news? The Russell Barnett Automotive family has launched its new and improved website. That's russellbarnett.com. With over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from, then look no further than russellbarnett.com. Online service appointments, customer testimonials, and vehicle history reports, this website has it all. We are the largest Middle Tennessee family-owned dealership with 5 locations to choose from. russellbarnett.com, and why buy anywhere else?
Do you need more? More golf, hunting, or camping? More basketball, soccer, and baseball? Do you need more football? Do you just need more sports? LightTube's digital sports tier has more sports. Offering 12 additional sports channels for only $3 additional a month. What are you waiting on? Call 455-4515 and get more today.
Get the gig. Get the world's fastest internet with LightTube. That's 1 gig down, 1 gig up internet speeds for only $89.95 per month. Call LightTube today to upgrade and get the gig. Call us at 455-4515 to learn more. LightTube. Local people, local service.
You're watching The Shasteen Show, presented by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma on LightTube Channel 23 and 93.9 The Duck. Now back to Scott and Ken at London's in downtown Tullahoma.
We're back at London's Steak Night, Monday night. Gazing out the spacious front window here. Doesn't look like there's much rain, maybe a little drizzle. Along with Ken Keller, I'm Scott Shasteen as we over halfway home on this edition of the Shasteen Show. Ken, let's talk a little college basketball, but before we do, the Cleveland Browns and the Haslam family today signed former Kansas City running back Kareem Hunt. Your thoughts?
I'm a little surprised. I think they had areas to address in other positions, especially with the emergence of rookie Nick Chubb, who I think the last 5 or 6 games may have had more rushing yards than anybody in the NFL. I had him on my fantasy football team, and he was tremendous this year. Did not even start until about halfway through the season, maybe 7th or 8th game, and he turned it on and had a fantastic season. So, yeah, I'm a little surprised, but you know what? We talked about last week which team was going to go out of the 12 teams that had never won a Super Bowl, which of those NFL teams was going to win the next Super Bowl, not next year, but would win one first. I think this guy here picked the Cleveland Browns, so that helps their chances a little bit there.
Maybe. It may just be another disaster move by the Haslam family and the Cleveland Browns.
Well, I think we're going to see, Freddie Kitchens is the new head coach for the Cleveland Browns. This is going to be his first head coaching stint. So we'll see how Freddie does. And hopefully for the Browns fans, he coaches better than he played quarterback at Alabama.
Ken, weren't a big fan of Freddie Kitchens?
No, I was not a Freddie Kitchens fan.
That might have been when Alabama wasn't quite so good.
They weren't real good.
Yeah, I think we probably beat Freddie, 3-4?
Beat him up. Well, and the thing, the guy just took a beating. I mean, he just, he couldn't, scramble in the pocket. He didn't have much mobility, and he was just a sitting duck back there for Leonard Little and the guys.
Teed off.
Yeah. Sean Ellis, Leonard Little, that bunch, they got him pretty good.
Billy Ratliff, they were pretty good.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good team Tennessee had back in the mid-90s. All right, a little NCAA basketball bracketology, if you will. USA Today projecting the field of 64, the first weekend, if you will. So Final Four appearances will be clinched in 4 locations: Louisville, Washington, D.C., Kansas City, and Anaheim. The West will be clinched in Anaheim, and the West opening round will have 4 sites: Salt Lake City, San Jose, Tulsa, and Des Moines. The number 1 seed in the West is Gonzaga. Number 2, Michigan State. Number 3, Kansas. Number 4, Louisville.
Man.
Number 5, Kansas State.
Some good teams.
Watch the Kansas State Wildcats. It's a really good team. And we won't go through all 16 seeds, but you've got some strong teams in there. St. John's is in there, coached by Chris Mullen. Of course, Louisville in there, Kansas, Iowa, Baylor, Michigan State. Good, strong West region. But Gonzaga projected as the number 1 seed. In the Midwest, which will be decided in Kansas City, Virginia is the number 1 seed, despite their 2 losses to Duke. That's their only 2 losses of the year. Of course, Virginia is the only number 1 seed in history to be beaten by a 16 seed last year. You remember who that was?
I don't.
That was Maryland, Baltimore County.
Look at that.
Beat Virginia.
Smash giving me
Maryland,
thumbs up there. Good
Baltimore County. If this projection holds true, and it won't, Virginia would face Sam Houston State in the opening round as the number 1 seed in the Midwest. Number 2 in the Midwest, Kentucky. Number 3, Houston, the Cougars.
Oh, Phi
Slamma Jamma.
Are they back?
Yeah, they're back. Number 4, Wisconsin. Number 5, Texas Tech. Interesting about the Midwest. First of all, in the West, there are no SEC teams. There are really no teams from the South. I don't really count Louisville being from the South or Texas teams being from the South. There are no Southeast United States teams in this bracket in the West. However, in the Midwest, there are 5. You've got Ole Miss as a number 8 seed. You've got Alabama as Lipscomb as the number 10 seed. You've got Alabama as the 11 seed. Belmont as the 12th seed.
Wow.
And, of course, Kentucky at number 2. And Northern Kentucky is the 15 seed. They've got Kentucky and Northern Kentucky matched up.
You better watch out for those directional schools.
Yeah.
Those are the
Isn't
ones.
that true? Well, you got
to kind of watch out for Northern Kentucky.
You've got a couple of schools in this one that I think can make some noise. New Mexico State as the 13 seed against Wisconsin. Watch that one. Wisconsin, plays that slow brand of basketball.
Well, and you're right. So is that, what'd you say, seed? They were 13?
Yes.
So does 13 play 4?
Yes.
That's in 12 and 5. Those are the ones that are really on upset alert that first round.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the 12 here is Belmont against Texas Tech. The Bruins and Lipscomb, the Bison, are both really good this year. Shows them both getting in. So that's the Midwest. In the East, it will be played, decided in Washington, D.C. The 4 sites, by the way, for the Midwest are Columbus, Missouri, Salt Lake City, Jacksonville, and Columbus again. That's kind of strange. Yeah, Jacksonville. So in the East, you got Columbia, Hartford, and Des Moines. Okay? The number 1 seed in the East is Duke. They would be the number 1 seed overall.
The Dukies.
The Duke Blue Devils. Number 2, Michigan. Number 3 is Marquette.
Well, they had an impressive win the other night. Trying to remember who they were playing. They were playing a really good team and won.
Number 4, Iowa State. Villanova comes in at number 5. Interesting in this bracket, the East bracket, there's only one SEC team, and it is Auburn. So Auburn gets to be in the whole other side of the bracket.
What seed is Auburn?
I believe Auburn is a number 9 seed. They've really fallen off a little bit.
Yeah.
But I believe Auburn, the only all-SEC potential matchup in the finals, could involve Auburn.
I think Marquette beat Villanova the other night. That's the game I was watching. I think they beat Jay Williams and Villanova. Of course, Villanova won it all last year. But, man, I remember that. I don't know which one it was, but I just remember Al McGuire coaching. It was probably in the 70s when Marquette made a big run.
Sure it was.
And, man, what a great guy, Al McGuire. Man, love watching him coach, and I love listening to him announce ball games.
Jim Jones was the dominant player for that Marquette team.
Love their uniforms, man.
Yeah, the stripes.
Yes.
Looked like the bees from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. Yep.
So interesting play-in game in the East for the 12th seed to face Villanova. Clemson against Indiana. That's a big-time Power 5 play-in game right there.
Yeah.
And then finally we go to the South, projected by USA Today. The number 1 seed, the Tennessee Volunteers. Number 2.
Say that again. I mean,
Tennessee Volunteers projected to be the number 1 seed in the South.
Don't make any sense. I mean, you got Gonzaga, Virginia, Duke, and Tennessee. Who would have thunk it, man, a year ago?
Projected to face number 16 Bucknell in Columbia, South Carolina. Be the opening round there. Other side of that bracket, the 8 and 9 seeds, Ohio State and Wofford. So we could have a Tennessee-Ohio State second round matchup. That'd be pretty good for Sweet 16.
I think old Herbie would be traveling from Nashville rooting for his Buckeyes somewhere. What do you think?
Also in the South is number 5 seed LSU. Tennessee got to the Sweet 16. They could very well face an LSU team. And also number 7 seed Mississippi State is in that South region. So Florida State in there as well. Purdue is number 3. Nevada, who's been a top 10 team all year, a number 4 seed and placed in that South bracket. So watch for a potential Nevada LSU matchup in the field of 32. That'd be a heck of a game right there.
Who's the number? Have you said who the number 2 was?
North Carolina.
Okay,
Tar
Heels. I like those 4 teams right there. I think Tennessee, that would be a good matchups for them. Although LSU, they've only lost, one game in the conference?
Doing very well.
Watch out for those guys.
Yeah, LSU playing great. So, again, USA today projects Tennessee, Virginia, Duke, and Gonzaga as the number 1 seeds. So, it's fun to do. We'll do that every week. See where we're at in a month when it's the real thing.
Yeah, and so I guess the $1 million question is this: you got a big matchup. We're talking about Tennessee, about NCAA tournament coming up, but Tennessee travels to Rupp Arena on Saturday. Probably going to play Kentucky a couple times, and it looks like they've got them in separate brackets right now. But
they're going to play Kentucky a couple of times.
Yeah.
The second game will be March 2nd in Knoxville.
Yeah, a couple times, and so you wonder how much weight the committee will put on those head-to-head matchups. Are those 2 games, or could those 2 teams both get number 1 seeds?
I think it's highly unlikely. They would certainly have to split, and then some other teams would have to lose some games.
Yeah, I think so.
If
like Virginia,
Kentucky or Tennessee, either one sweeps those 2 games, I think they're the number 1 seed. If Kentucky sweeps Tennessee, I think they take that number 1 seed, and they should.
Yeah.
Because, I'm always a believer that you look at the historic tradition of programs when you see this thing. I know the committee does. And if Kentucky beats Tennessee twice in regular season, they deserve to be number 1 seed.
Yeah, and I asked you in the break, that there's 4 number 1 seeds awarded, but they actually rank within the committee those 4 seeds 1 through 4, and you have an overall, they rank all the teams 1 through 68, I think, or ever how it is. There's 68 teams. So if you're Tennessee, certainly you just want to be number 1 in the South, right? None of that. It doesn't matter if you're the number 1 overall seed at all, does it?
I don't think it matters. I don't see an easier bracket for anybody.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, so that's inconsequential because Duke would naturally want to be in the East, Gonzaga in the West, Virginia if they get the number 1 seed. There's where I think Kentucky could possibly get that one. If Virginia slips back and Kentucky stays hot and splits with Tennessee, I could see Kentucky still in the number 1 in the Midwest.
Yeah, you usually have 1 or 2 number 1 seeds having to move sort of out of their region, and Virginia right now is that one by moving to the Midwest because they are certainly an East team. So that's where USA Today stands right now. We'll see where they stand in March when it matters.
I can't wait, man. I think Scott's going to win the $1 million and hit his bracket perfect this year.
Yeah. I think I'm going to. I'm probably.
Why not?
High school basketball, though, it is playoff time. It is one and done time in high school basketball. We'll talk about some of the area teams and where they stand up in their brackets. Driven by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma. We're live downtown at London's. It's the Shasteen Show on the Rooster 1015.
Trucks, and more trucks. Keith Barnett here with the Russell Barnett Automotive family, and we have your next truck. From the Ford F-Series, the Ram, Chevrolet, or the GMC, then look no further than the Russell Barnett family. With over 350 new and pre-owned trucks to choose from, now is the time to buy. Stop by one of our 5 locations. That's Russell Barnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Chevrolet GMC, Ford of Winchester, and Russell Barnett Ford and Kia of Tullahoma, or visit us on the web at russellbarnett.com. Why buy anywhere else?
I'm working with a home buyer from Louisiana, and he asked me what type of internet access we have in Tullahoma. So I told him all about LightTube, and he said, "You're kidding me. There's fiber optics available in Tullahoma?" And I said, "Not only that, but it's great service, most reliable. You get to work with people in Tullahoma, and it's awesome." And he said, "People need to know in Tullahoma how lucky they are."
Think there's only one way to earn a college degree? It's time to explore your alternatives at Motlow State Community College. With our diverse degree options, a variety of course formats, and convenient locations, students can customize a college experience to fit any lifestyle, budget, or schedule. There are countless ways to get the education you need. Come explore them with us at Motlow State Community College.
You're watching The Shasteen Show, presented by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma, on LightTube Channel 23 and 93.9 The Duck. Now back to Scott and Ken at London's in downtown Tullahoma.
Well, we're looking at this bracket here, and we're deciding where would be the best place for Tennessee to go so we could go see them. What do you think, Ken?
I think Jacksonville. We've got a free place to stay there, Scott.
You don't think Hartford, Connecticut, or San Jose looks promising?
I think
we got a place to stay in Jacksonville.
Yep. And probably somebody can get us really good tickets.
You know, I was stationed there, so I made that drive many times.
Let's go, man.
It's about 10 hours.
Smash will have to take the show by itself.
They'll be playing on, I guess, Thursday or Friday, and then if they win, a Saturday or a Sunday.
Yep.
So we'd have to plan to stay the whole time.
We would.
We'd watch it whether they win or not.
Yep.
We're watching the basketball.
We would. We go all 4 days, man. We get sick on basketball. Can you imagine us being there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, watching
drive 10 hours the day before and drive 10 hours the day after.
All we do is sit at the game, watch popcorn, eat popcorn, and watch the games, man. So
let's do it.
Let's go, man.
Let's just go, no matter who's in the bracket.
That sounds good to me.
I need a break. You?
Yep, I do. I've got some PTO built up, so I've got to take it off.
I don't know what that is, but it sounds like time off.
That's right. Paid time off.
Paid time off.
Yes,
look
indeed.
out. We call it vacation.
That's right.
All right. High school football has entered playoff time. It is playoff time, and it begins tonight. These games are going on tonight in girls basketball. The District 8 Single A tournament begins tonight in girls basketball, and the higher seed hosts. So tonight, Moore County is hosting Cornersville. I don't know. Can you hear that game live on Whiskey Country? Moore County basketball. Oh, that's good decision. That's smart. Get to the playoffs and don't do anything. No, I'm kidding. Bosses, I'm kidding. So Moore County is hosting Cornersville, and Huntland is hosting Fayetteville. That's on the girls' side tonight. Whoever wins the Moore County Cornersville game will advance to play number 1 seed Cascade. And once you advance to the Final Four there, then you move to the tournament site. Our tournament will be in Cornersville this year.
Our good buddy's daughter, Carolina, Montana, playing on that Carolina driver playing on that Moore County girls team.
Absolutely. Yep.
So good luck to them. So they play tonight?
I'm sure they're down in Lynchburg right now, hooping it up in the barrel house or whatever they call that little box they play in. You ever been to a basketball game at Moore County?
I went and watched Tullahoma play Moore County there.
It's an interesting environment, isn't it?
It is. It's a really partisan crowd. They make a lot of noise, just like it's definitely home court advantage for Moore County, no doubt.
So the Raiderettes have their hands full. If they're going to get by Cornersville and then get by number 1 seeded Cascade on Wednesday, they'll have to go to Cornersville to play that tournament. On the girls' side in District 8 AAA, the play-in game was played last week on Friday night, and if this score is correct, Lawrenceburg beat Columbia 70-16.
Oh, wow.
So what a thrill that was for the folks in Lawrenceburg.
Mercy me. That's a beatdown.
Look, I got a beef. I got a beef with how these tournaments are set up.
And what is that? Because I'm sure it's a legitimate beef.
It is a legitimate beef if I have it.
No doubt.
You don't get rewarded for winning the regular season.
I don't like that.
You get the same reward if you finish second.
No, I don't like it.
So open the tournament, especially in District 8 AAA. It's a perfect example where you've got 7 teams. Open the tournament with 2 playing games, and then let the top 5 teams go to the tournament. Otherwise, and the number 1 seed gets a bye in the first round.
I agree.
Otherwise, you don't get rewarded for winning the regular season.
Yeah.
It's a long regular season. You should get rewarded for winning it, in my opinion.
I agree. I mean, it counts for something. It makes the regular season games more meaningful. So, yeah, reward the number 1 seed.
So, again, tonight, the girls' opening round is taking place all over the state. Opening round. And the 2 games in District 8 AAA, and again, the higher seed hosts. So Lawrence County is at Franklin County tonight over in Winchester, and Shelbyville is at Lincoln County down in Fayetteville. Now the winner of the Shelbyville-Lincoln County game will advance to Thursday night's contest against number 1 seed Coffee County. And the winner of the Franklin County-Lawrence County game will advance to play Tullahoma on Thursday night at 7:30. Again, both of those games will take place in Lawrenceburg. They are hosting the District 8 AAA tournament in Lawrenceburg.
So what seed is Tullahoma?
In a previous life, I would be making that drive.
Yes.
Tullahoma is the number 2 seed.
Okay.
The Tullahoma girls had a great year. They started out really slow. They were like 0-5 or 0-6 or something. And Cody McMurtry and that team really turned it around. They added a player about the middle of the year. She was really good, and it really helped to turn the season around. So that's the girls' side. The boys' tournament start tomorrow. The District 8A tournament they're in the same place, Cornersville.
It's the same place. Okay.
8A will be in Cornersville. Opening round games tomorrow night. Moore County will travel to Huntland. That's always a good rivalry. The Hornets and the Raiders square off at 6 o'clock. And then Cornersville will head to Cascade for the 6 versus 3 matchup. Eagleville and Fayetteville get the byes. And the winner of Huntland and Moore County will face Eagleville. And Cornersville-Cascade winner will face Fayetteville. So Cornersville really has a legitimate opportunity to end up in the enviable place where you do not have a team in the tournament that you're hosting, neither boys or girls. If their girls lose tonight and their boys lose tomorrow night, the whole tournament shifts to Cornersville Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They won't have any teams in it.
And that makes the AD very sad.
Very sad. Very sad. On the boys' side in District 8 AAA, the opening round game was held Friday night. Tullahoma squeezed by Shelbyville 53-50. I think the Golden Eagles missed a 3-point attempt right at the buzzer. So Tullahoma advanced in the tournament and will play Columbia tomorrow night at 6 o'clock in Columbia. Tullahoma, the 7th seed. And the other boys' game is Lawrence County at Franklin County. The Lawrence County-Franklin County winner advances to play number 1 seed Coffee County. You know, they won both sides of the district. And the number 2 seed is Lincoln County. So if Franklin County beats Lawrence County tomorrow night, Lawrence County and Cornersville both could host these tournaments without a team in it. Both in Lawrenceburg, in Lawrence County, by the way. Cornersville High
School. Much to the
School.
chagrin of Brad White in the Lawrenceburg situation.
Yes. Interesting phenomena.
Yes.
Both schools are in Lawrence County, and they both could host district tournaments without a team being in it.
How about that?
That's strange.
It is.
What were the odds right there going into the year?
Not good.
Pretty slim.
Slim.
That's what I've got.
What about Coffee County, but #1 seed in the boys and girls in Tullahoma's district? So
congratulations to the Raiders and the Lady Raiders. I hope the Lady Cats. All you got to do is get to the Final Four there, and you get a ticket to the region.
Yeah.
And normally, what that means for teams from District 8 AAA is they go get their brains beat out by teams
Murfreesboro
from Murfreesboro.
Yeah.
So we'll see. 7 AAA usually controls that side of the tournament. All right.
They sure do.
Phil Mickelson gets a big win at Pebble Beach. Is he going to win a major this year?
No. Tiger's got a better shot.
Tiger's got a great shot.
Yep.
He's going to win one this year. And the Predators are getting back on track.
Well, they got beat twice, I think, by the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah, you get a point in overtime.
Yeah, I heard some people whining about that, about losing 2 games to them straight. So
it matters what you do in April, May, and June in hockey.
That's right.
Just like the NBA. It don't matter right now. Predators can win just as much on the road as they can at home. We'll see you next week. That's going to do it for this edition of the Shasteen Show. For Smash and Thunder and Ken Keller, I'm Scott Shasteen. Be good to each other. And Mark Houston.
There you go.
The Shasteen Show, presented by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma and brought to you by Southern Community Bank, Rogers Insurance Group, and Mission Collision, is a presentation of Bowman Media Company and 93.9 The Duck. The show is taped before a live audience at London's in downtown Tullahoma, Monday nights at 6 p.m. Come join us for cold beer and Tullahoma's best burgers. Thanks for watching The Shasteen Show on LightTube Channel 23.